Well, hello, it's Simon Gray here again from Real Tail Trade. Real Tail Trade, I'm a retail trader. I trade from home, and the idea behind this information, this video, is to share some of the stuff that I'm doing in the currency markets, the Forex markets, the FX markets, whatever you want to call them, telling the real story of what it's like to be a retail trader. Not all the education that's out there. That a lot of it, to be honest, if you follow it, it's not going to work for you. Believe me, I've done it. This is sharing some of my experience, some of my insights, having spent, well, at least 5-6 years in the currency markets, and this year, 2019, focusing primarily as my main source of income. Quick disclaimer, what I'm sharing with you on the screen, this is not buy or sell recommendations. I'm not encouraging you to do, oh, there we go. I'll talk about that in a moment. I'm not encouraging you to do anything that I'm doing. All I'm saying is that this is some of the things that I like to look at. If you're new to the trading world, might give you some clues as to what's important and what's not. If you're more experienced, then perhaps you'll get some insight and some thoughts on some of the things you can build into your own game. And trading is a very personal game. You need your own strategy. You can't follow what anybody else does. It doesn't work. You need a trading strategy that fits your personality. I'll come on to this alert in a moment, but first of all, let me talk a little bit about what happened overnight. So overnight, Australian dollar tanked, as you'll see here. This bar, there was the inflation report out. It undercut targets or didn't hit targets. As a result, the market, I think, perceived, the market was surprised, and the perception is that the Royal Bank of Australia may end up cutting rates, which obviously has a detrimental, or should have a detrimental effect on the currency, as evidenced here. So I was in this trade. I recorded a video on this yesterday. We'd broken below the 200 simple moving average on the 4-hour chart. As you remember, if you watched that video, this also corresponded to the 50 simple moving average on the daily chart. As a result, I added to that position. About 3 o'clock in the morning, this happened. That's British summertime. This happened. What I've done now is roll my stop to break even on that third position. I now have a free trade. Those of you who'd watched the video yesterday may have observed I had a limit order in here to take off my position just above the even handle of 0.7000. What I've set now, I've taken that limit order off. I've set an alert to let me know when we get down here. I have a feeling now that the market is pretty negative on the Australian dollar. And if I dial out to the bigger time frames, the weekly, you'll see we're below the moving averages here. If I go out to the monthly, you'll see potentially there's quite a way that this currency pair could fall. If indeed the Bank of Australia decides to cut rates. So, quite a big distance here. It's only small on the chart, but that's a lot of points. So what I'm going to do, and again, you'll see here on the monthly chart below the averages, which is significant. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hold here. I'm going to hold the short position that I have. My moving averages are dictating a trend trade anyway. This is the orange dashed line is the 10 exponential moving average. The black one is the 30 exponential moving average, and this is the 50 simple moving average, all of which are turning down. I'm going to see what the behavior of the price is here. If we get a close below the even handle, ideally this week, by the end of this week, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold and see how far I can go. So normally with my range trades, I take off the position when it hits the extreme of the range, and I'm looking then to buy back. Because we have some significant news in Australia, because I have a trend trade setting up here, I'm going to hold this and see what happens. All I can do is follow the market. My job is to cut my losses short and to let my profits run. So I'll be trailing this stop loss as we hopefully move down through this even handle of support. If you look at next trade that I was in, this is my short on USDJPY. Now, interestingly, looking at my relative strength analysis this morning, The US dollar and the Japanese yen are both pretty strong compared to some of the other currencies. As a result, they're not moving too much. I read the financial press this morning, Wall Street Journal. I tend to read that, not to copy what people are advising, but to think about the contrarian view. The US dollar is at highs in terms of the dollar index, the value of the dollar against a basket of other currencies. Now, that could be an extreme. That could mean that the dollar may start to weaken, which means that this could potentially fall down into my target. I think there's a good probability that we'll hit target 1, which will allow me to roll my stop to break even. I've tightened this stop up because I have a pretty clear range here. So my loss, if I am indeed stopped out, will be significantly less than it would have been up here. So just to wait and see what happens. I explained in the video yesterday that normally with this kind of action I'd have probably got out of this trade already and put my capital to work elsewhere, but what you'll see if I jump out to the weekly chart is we are just tracking this downward sloping weekly 200 simple moving average, and until we get a close above that, I believe, I think, I don't know, but I think there's a high probability we'll see more action to the downside, but only time will tell. And of course I could be wrong. Time will prove me wrong or prove me right. This is a game of probability, not certainty. So only time will tell. Okay, let me just jump back and I'll show you these other couple of pairs that I'm trading. This builds on the video from yesterday where I was talking about pyramiding your profits as opposed to pyramiding your losses. So if you've not checked that video out, then please do so. By the way, if you like the content in this these videos, then please be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification button on YouTube. You'll then get an alert when I put one of these videos out, which is usually every 2 or 3 days, sometimes more frequently depending on what's going on. Okay, so let me talk about this trade. This was the other trade I was in. This is a trend setup. This is the exponential moving averages crossing the 50 simple moving average on the 240 chart, and as you'll see overnight, in response to the Australian dollar news, this this rallied, I should say, into my target, and I'd set this target below some significant levels. The moving average here, the 200 moving average on the 4-hour chart. I'd also set it, where are we? Yes, just below the 50 simple moving average on the daily chart. So I'm now in a position on this trade. It's a free trade now. I've got profit in it, and we'll either go up or we'll come down and be stopped out. But I've made money on this trade, whatever happens. Potentially, there's an opportunity that we may move up into this level, I think. But only time will tell. You'll see, interestingly, here we have the even handle of 1.8000. Up here we have the even handle of 1.9000. So this potentially could be an interesting trading range. We'll see. Only time will tell. But I'm going to hold this position as long as I can, and I'll trail my stop upwards as we go. Getting a little bit of bounce back on this. This isn't surprising after a big move. This could be profit taking. Is it a reversal? Well, who knows? It could be profit taking, and what we may see is this candle close out, somewhere above 50% of this move, and then more buying come in. Price will fall to encourage more buyers to come to the table. Okay, so the other trade I've got on here is Euro Japanese yen. Now, interestingly, this pair did not close below the 50 simple moving average on the daily chart, but we are trading below that today. So what I'm going to be looking for is a strong close below this level tonight at 10 o'clock British summer time. So I'm holding this position. I've got 3 positions on, as I talked about in the video yesterday. It's kind of stalling here, but we are below the 200 simple moving average on the 240 4-hour chart. I have a limit order set here. There's not significant news in Euro or Japanese yen, although Japanese yen news is expected tonight. So I've set a limit order here. We could be at a buying opportunity on this range. Time will tell. The other thing that I have done, I have set a buy limit order here on Australia Japanese yen. Obviously, Australia was hit overnight in terms of that inflation report. I really like this pair, and I really like this pair from the buy side because it's a carry trade. And what that means is that the interest rate in Australia is higher than the interest rate in Japan. As a result, if I buy this currency pair, not only do I have the potential for a gain if price rises, but the broker will pay me a commission, if you like, interest. That's the better word for as long as I hold this pair, which is the interest rate differential on these two currency pairs. So Australia Japanese yen, Australia Swiss franc, great carry trade pairs. The other carry trade that I like is US dollar Swiss franc. So I tend to try and buy these pairs as opposed to sell them. Can get reasonably expensive if you're selling this pair and it's not moving because you're paying interest on the trade. Okay, I said I'd talk a little bit about that alert that popped up. This is real trading, so this is a loss that I've just taken. Let me show you what I was doing. So I go to synthetics majors. So every morning I trade a momentum strategy if a signal shows up. In fact, let me drag this across and I'll show you. So this is my signaling system, if you like. I'm looking at relative strength on the previous day. I'm looking for overnight strength. I'm looking for the 6 a.m. close, the 6:30 close, the 7 a.m. close. And what I'm looking for, and this is the daily position of price in relation to the daily 10 exponential moving average. What I noticed this morning, buy signal, buy overnight. This was fairly static. Buy signal again. The spread was good, so I set a trade to buy the US dollar against the Swiss franc. Again, good carry trade, and this trade didn't work out, which is fine. I bought it at the pretty much the even handle. The exponential moving averages were turning down a little bit, which was maybe a clue that this was not the trade to be in. However, on the candle I bought at, we were above the 50 simple moving average on the 30-minute chart. I trade this on, I should say, which was sloping up. So what I do on this trade, I take off 50% as I always do, and then look to roll the rest as long as I can. On the daily charts, what you'll notice is that this pair has been in a strong upward trajectory. So the higher time frames were confirming that a buy signal may work. My stop is tight on these types of trades. As a result, 15-point stop being stopped out. No problem, not a worry. It's one of those things. It's the cost of doing business. So just thought I'd share that with you now. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I'm going to process the recording now. Do be sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button, and I'll have another video out on the channel very, very soon indeed. Until then, good trading, and I'll talk to you very, very soon.